I did just want to touch a little bit on Michigan because we were about to do that before Wes jumped on. So no Isaiah Livers. They lose to Ohio State. They almost made a comeback to win that game down the stretch. How concerned are you about this Michigan team? Is not having Livers, is that a game changer? Like, where do you stand on this?
Yeah, it's a game changer. Of course it's a game changer. Again, we made an argument that he could be their most valuable player this year. Does everything for him, shoots the ball. I think he's kind of got that shit to him too, and some leadership qualities. And as we talked about yesterday, like, it's a puzzle, and that puzzle, the pieces really fit together very, very well for that Michigan team, especially with Mike Smith, right? Like, he was kind of the final piece of that puzzle, and we all questioned whether he was going to be good enough coming from the Ivy League. He's been plenty good enough, but part of the reason he's been good enough, Rob, is because he's had Hunter Dickinson to give the ball to down low, and he's got wings who can make shots. Obviously, they can defend. We know that as well. And again, Wagner, like, I always want more from him. I feel like I always am wanting more from him. I get the upside. Sometimes you see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
the thing about Franz is, like, he's not a takeover guy, right? Like, he's a piece. What makes him so appealing for the next level is he is the perfect kind of role-playing piece that you want on the wing. So, like, because what teams scour the globe for right now are 6'9" wings that can knock down threes, that can make plays off the bounce, and that are going to be switchable defensively, that understand how to play. And he's perfect. He's a perfect role player. But that's what he is. He's a role player. Like, if he's your number one option offensively, you're going to be in a little bit of trouble. And to me, that's kind of like the knock on this Michigan team, is that they don't necessarily have a star. The reason why they're so good is because every one of their pieces works together in concert perfectly.
Exactly.
Like, Mike Smith is exactly the point guard you want when you have a bunch of 3-and-D wings around the perimeter that can shoot, and a 5 in Hunter Dickinson that just completely overwhelms people in the paint. Hunter Dickinson is the perfect 5 to have when you have all those other guys around him, right? And Isaiah Livers slotting perfectly at the 4 because he's their best three-point shooter. He is a guy. It's a little bit of like the DeAndre Hunter thing with Virginia in 2018, when we all knew that, like, Ty Jerome and Kyle Guy were the stars, and you had other guys that were like the best players, but it's just he's the piece that kind of makes everything fit together, right? And oh, by the way, he just so happens to be a guy that's going to end up playing in the NBA. And I think you can make the argument that right now he's probably their best player in the moment. So I think it's a major blow, and I think it really significantly lowers what their ceiling can be. Now, the big question is going to be, like, how long is he out for? He was kind of running around yesterday and moving around. So I don't know if it's the kind of thing where he's done for the tournament. And I don't think
they know the answer. I don't think they know the answer to that, talking to people close to the Michigan program. They're optimistic, or hopeful, I should say, not optimistic. They're hopeful he can play at some point in the NCAA tournament, maybe even as soon. It sounds like they're not thinking it's likely next week, but the Sweet 16 that week.
And they can get by they can get out of the first weekend without him. They're good enough to be able to do that. Like, Ohio State's really good, and they hung with them. That we had a question about Kyle Young.
He's not going to play today.
Yeah, he's not going to play today. And the thing is, it's a concussion protocol thing. So there's a certain number of days that he has to be before, like, with no symptoms before he can play again. And the window between now and when the tournament actually starts should be enough time for him to be back, but he can't play today. It's a concussion.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we saw how long it took that it took Io. I mean, he could be out for another week on this.
Yep. Yeah. All right. I said that we were going to go straight into to today's slate after this, but I do just want to mention Memphis. Like, oh man, so heartbreaking for them. Back-to-back Memphis, back-to-back one possession losses against Houston, where one of those wins probably gets them into the NCAA tournament. I just feel for him, man. I feel for the kid.
You know what? You put yourself in that position, and with that talent, you shouldn't have. You shouldn't have been in that position where you needed that win. Not with that team.
Yeah, you're right. Things really changed for them when they got DeAndre Williams and when he was able to get eligible. And that's when things really turned around for them. He was kind of that like missing piece that they needed, a tough guy, defender, a winner, a veteran, old. He's like 38 at this point. So tough. I feel bad for him. I was hoping that they would make it. Like I just want teams like Memphis and teams like Georgetown, you just want to see them in the event because of the fan base, because of the passion, because of who their coaches are, everything about it.